No, what's really, you probably can't see it, but what's really wild is they narrow where the fulcrum is.
Oh, really?
And I
Oh,
love
yeah, I
them
can see
because
that. Yeah.
I have like in between hands, right? Like my fulcrum wants like a 5B, but my hands want a 2B. And
Oh,
so that's like almost what this stick does. So it's thick, narrow, and then thick again.
uh-huh.
And it gives it like a great rebound for a big stick. And I can hold the fulcrum like way longer without my hands getting tired. They're pretty crazy. Cool. I bought them just because I thought they'd be weird to try, and I thought it was just gimmicky, but it actually, for me anyway, it works pretty well. So
that one dude, there's did you guys ever see those Johnny Rab sticks? You know who Johnny Rab is? He had some crazy invention sticks. Johnny Rab's a cool drummer. He's like very innovative, really great teacher, and he's kind of like I don't know like a lot of this like I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of like Johnny Rab videos, but he's a really skilled drummer. He's like the one that does that one-handed roll thing. Anyways, he invented a drumstick that had what's that that percussion thing? He had like a stick that had that on it, so you can like go on your snare drum and play it while you're playing beats. And it's weird, like even when you're playing, it didn't really get in the way. It's really cool.
It's wild.
And I think he made another stick that was like where your hand is, it's like a big fat, it's almost like not as big as a doorknob, but it's like really big, and it's shaped like morphed, like molded to your hand. And that one was weird too. It's like you're holding on to like a giant piece of wood, but then the stick is like normal size, you know?
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like he just has like some out of the box things, but I don't think any of them really took off.
I feel like I saw a Dennis Chambers stick maybe that was like a really weird, like something like that. It was almost like a reverse drumstick in a sense. It looked more like a baseball bat.
Yeah.
It did a drumstick in some regards.
Dennis Chambers sticks are nice, man. They're like the ones that he had in the 90s were really nice, man. They had like a barrel shape. And they were like kind of thin in between like a 5A and a 7A. But they're really firm. They're nice, man. How's everybody doing today? That's good. My stupid cat, dude. My cats are like, okay, I have the needy, like my cats are super chill, but then as soon as we start giving them wet food, they turn into like whiny babies, dude. And they're just like following us around, like meowing for like wet cat food. And so our cat now, if her bowl is not full of fresh food, she is like at the door at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and she is just like, she won't stop. It's just meow, 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 meow. And I've like wanted to wring her little neck a couple times. Like, get your butt out of here and calm down. This isn't how it works. But yeah, so that's how I got woken up this morning, where I was like, oh, I'm going to just freaking wring this little cat's neck, man, or throw her outside or something. And then by the time I'm like ready to do something, my wife just gets up and puts food in her bowl, and then she's like, thanks, and then just quiet as can be. I'm like, you.
Yep.
What? So
their food bowls are in Mary's daughter's room, and she sleeps with her door closed. So same thing, starting at like 5 a.m, they're in our room harassing us, trying to be obnoxious enough to get food, but we're like, we're not in control. We can't make her open the door. Go away.
Yeah. Good morning, Rebecca. Welcome. Been some developments. I'm supposed to have logos for Chops and Coffee this weekend, but I'm dealing with a graphic designer. Graphic designers are always, yeah, man, I'll have it for you like by the end of the day. And then a week later, I'm like, bro, like what happened? Oh yeah, I worked up something, but you know, it's like, it's how every graphic designer I've ever worked with is.
Well, I can get you something by the end of the day, but as you've seen by my artwork, I don't think you're going to want it.
I sent him your stuff too, and he's like, sweet. Like, he's like, cool. So I don't know. I think he's just doing one. I only can afford like one design right now. So,
yeah, no, I'm just totally making fun of my own bad drawing skills. There's a reason I take pictures, not draw them.
no, it's all good.
Concept art.
Yeah, it's cool. Sometimes some of the art I've seen, man, that's a masterpiece. So yeah, we should, as soon as I get PNGs of it, then I'll be uploading them onto shirts and coffee mugs, and then we'll have Chops and Coffee art. So if he holds true to his word, for Monday's Chops and Coffee, we might have merch ready. So yeah, that's good. Looking forward to that, and then looking forward to representing and growing Chops and Coffee even more. So this is we always have a lot of positive things to say about Chops and Coffee, but this has been a really cool development and positive thing for Drum Brigade, and helps me to like think outside of the like what this could be, or like how we could grow it, and then it helps me to like where I'm like, okay, I can see us doing more like in this realm, maybe not with straight up Chops and Coffee, but maybe doing this at a park, or maybe doing this once a week with all of my students, or like all of the teachers who work under the umbrella of Drum Brigade, like doing something like this for them. So it's really cool. It's opened up my eyes to a lot of things, and it's something unique where it's a lot of business people jump into something and they're like, okay, sweet, how do we make money off of this? And I've been reading a lot of books and stuff like that are always talking about like, man, it shouldn't be about that. It should be about like filling a void, or like doing what you love, helping people, service mindset over, all of that other stuff. So this is proof that something really cool came out of it when we weren't even thinking, okay, cool, how do we make money off of this? And now, I feel like I've made new friends in the drum community, and in the Drum Brigade. I feel like we've brought light to the Drum Brigade and what we do, and have people that are into the same ideas and philosophies of the acceptance mantra that we have and all that stuff. So congratulations, you guys.
Thanks, Corey. The cool thing for me is like, if I was invited to this, whatever, a couple months ago, and it was like, oh, it's, $10 a month or something, I might not have done it, but it's
right.
Like you're giving us value by providing this. And now, like, I just want to throw you like some kind of a membership fee, like, even if it, just be like, now I want to pay for the value that I'm getting out of it.
That's cool, man.
Whether I just keep buying merch or,
No, I'm just kidding. I think the merch thing is the best way to support that. I've had a few people that are like, yeah, you should maybe start like a Patreon, and I might do that. It might be though, like for new people that need to join, that want to join, it might be a membership thing, but I'm not even trying to think about that. I think for me, this is just a way for me to force myself to practice and to be here and be prepared, and this is very useful for me in other ways, like in other aspects of teaching, or other aspects of leading other groups and all that stuff. So I think it's the same thing for like when I'm streaming live. The best way to support is either just directly donate, like for the people that are streaming, or buy merch. That's the best way, because the merch is like, it's really great advertising for me, and then we get a little bit of a cut of that. So yeah, it's cool. So until later, until I do like make a Patreon or something like that where people can voluntarily donate, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, I like merch, because I'm always into like trying different sticks. We could do like a stick of the month club where you just get a new set of sticks every month for like $10.
Funny is like so when I discovered Dollar Shave Club, it like sent me down a rabbit hole of trying to develop a stick of the month kind of thing, where it was a membership, a monthly subscription for sticks, and it was like set up like the idea was like you're an endorsed stick like you're like a guy that's endorsed by Vic Firth, so you just get your sticks sent to you every month.
Right.
And I was like already lining up a bunch of companies, like John's company was one, and getting a bunch of samples of like different stuff that you would get in the box as well, like different moon gels, different, symbol just different gadgets that you can try out that were samples from all these people. And then like the premium level was like you would get like maybe like a low boy beater or like, I don't know, like a big fat snare drum, and like, or you could get like, it was like random, like you could get like a new snare head, like a 14-inch snare head to try out. And like, but you always get like 1 pair of sticks, 2 pairs of sticks, or like 5 pairs of sticks, and like, but it was like a lot of work. And then it's drum industry, man. So it's like a lot of companies are not really into new ideas, or not really into thinking out of the box. They're always just like, well, we've always just distributed to Big Bang distribution. I'm like, yeah, but this is like the new thing. Like everybody's doing subscription boxes. Yeah, but well, like, well, what would we get at? I'm like, dude, we're bringing like tons of people to your, like, it's anyways, it fell through.
Yeah.
You had the idea.
Real quick, a good example. I mean, not that I'm trying to praise a big company or anything, but Fender a few years ago actually thought, you know what, we really better get our shit together online, or we're going to get just our lunch eaten. So they were already like building up to it. And when COVID hit, they're online, like they can't keep guitars in stock. They are selling so many freaking guitars online, and they're high-end stuff, and they're custom. And so, and they've taken some risks on innovation that like traditional guitar players look down their nose at these guitars, but they're bringing in people in their 20s and early 30s who've never played guitar before. So, they're expanding. So it's a bummer that we don't see like, companies in the drum industry like that universally have that same mindset. I think there are some, but it'd be nice to have more.
Its music industry is just really stuck in like 1999. And most teachers are stuck in 1999, and like most websites are stuck in 1999, and like it's really weird. It's really crazy. I won't get on a soapbox about it, but it's really frustrating for it's really frustrating for the musicians that are like trying to create, and like especially a lot of the drummers that I'm fans of are artists. They're not just drummers that are like, I don't know. Yeah, that's a whole nother subject that we can get on. But the idea was to do that with not just drumsticks, to do like the same thing, but with guitar strings. Like guitar players that are endorsed, I guess, would probably get their strings sent to them. And like if you can restring your guitar every month, that would be really cool. And you get like picks, and you get capos, and you get, I don't know, the spray that you spray on your string, like little samples of all that stuff. Maybe it's a good idea down the road, but I didn't have any.
Symbol of the month. It's like $300 a month. You get a new crash or something.
A lot of people would be into that idea.
You already know I'm a cymbal junkie. I'm sold.
A lot of people would be into that idea.
Take my money.
Because you can build stacks out of them too. Like if try different combos, like you get a splash, whatever. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. Snare drum of the month. It's like $1,200, but drum set of the month. It's like $5,000. There would probably be a couple guys that would be into that, All right, so let's get started. We got so I just got like a couple repeat things. I've been kind of winging it on as far as like morning motivation, just because I've been so busy with like just swamped working on some new stuff for Drum Brigade. So I apologize for that, but it's been nice having discussions or just watching a video, and I think that might be like kind of the standard now.
Yeah, that's good. Improvisational inspiration is cool.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I was paying a lot more attention to like having something prepared for that, but it's that's not, I mean, that's just something that I like to do. It's not like the focus of Chops and Coffee. It's just I think the warm up and the hang is the focus of Chops and Coffee. That's what I mean. This is like we're developing all of this as we go, like together. It's not just like this is what it is, and it's not a mold, Okay, so I have a couple different. I wanted to try to revisit one of the ones from last week. And I have that kick drum exercise thing that I gotta pull up. So maybe we do that one second. Maybe we do like a basic one first. I don't know what I'm looking at. Dude, this is Fig. And Kevin and Bobby. Dude, I miss Fig, dude. Where is Fig? Dude.
Falling off the face of the earth, man. Where'd he go?
I don't know. One of the baddest dudes out there doing it. Like literally, definitely the baddest dude in San Diego. Okay, I'm just pulling up some sheet music here. What should we do? I always end up going to the Zildjian thing. Let's do the singles doubles paradiddles. Let's do the singles doubles paradiddles with ostinato. You can do any ostinato you want. You can do like the, or you can just do the. I'm a big fan of like the samba one. Let me turn this off. Or just like the standard. This is the 8th note one that I normally go to. Standard. So I'll do that, and then we're just gonna play 16th notes, singles, doubles for one measure, and paradiddles. Singles, doubles, paradiddles. And if you want, like I said, you can do them with singles, doubles, paradiddles. Okay, we'll just start with that one since we're going to be doing some kick drum stuff today. Let me get a metronome. Ding-a-ding-a-ding, 16 notes on our hands. Singles, doubles, paradiddles. Hold on. Oh boy. All right, there we go. And I need a timer. Actually, I gotta fix this really quick. You guys can hear that click, right? Yeah. Okay. There he is. Okay. Are you guys ready? I'm gonna start with the ostinato and then I'll count in our hands. Here we go. 1, 2, 8th notes on my feet. I'm putting my kick drum on the beat. I should probably switch that sometimes. Put my kick drum off the beat. Anyways, 16 notes on our hands, starting with singles. 2, ready, go. Doubles. Paradiddles. Singles. Doubles. Couple more. Last one. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I always I'm looking at the timer and like going, okay, last one and ready, stop. And then once I'm thinking about that, my hands just stop working. All right, let's try again. Starting with a kick. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, hands, ready, go. Doubles, paradiddles, singles, doubles, paradiddles, singles, doubles, paradiddles. one. Yeah.
Question.
Yes.
That samba, Ostinato,
Mm-hmm.
the hi-hat on the quarter note or the first bass? So like, the click 1, 2, 3, 4.
The
hi-hat's on the quarter note.
No, the hi-hat would be on the and, I believe. A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. A 1 is your kick, yeah. A 1 is your kick, yeah. A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, yeah.
That's really hard with the paradiddles.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so next level. When I get kids that get a little cocky with like, yeah, I got it, it's easy. They know this one. Then I make them play all of those rhythms in triplets. And then when you get to the paradiddle, you're playing the groupings of 4, but you're playing them in a subdivision of 3, and then you're still playing your legs in 4, and that makes them realize that they're not as dope as they thought they were. Not that it's about that, but sometimes you got to let them know, you know.
Bring them down.
Hey, Corey, I got like a little bit of a quick music theory question. Like, I know what you call an ostinato. Like, I know what that is, what I'm hearing, and I'm like, oh, musicians call that an ostinato. But like, what would be an actual definition, or like if you were explaining it, like how would you verbalize it?
So it's a pattern that's repeating. It's a repeated pattern that continuously goes on, but it's like an individual pattern. So like this is like an 8th note ostinato because you're repeating it. But anyways, even if I did any kind of thing, like something like that would be like a repeated ostinato, because your leg is doing that, right? You guys chime in if I'm explaining that wrong, but that's
cool.
The way I've understood it.
I think of it as more like like it's a repeating, unchanging, but underlaying pattern.
Right.
That you put stuff on top of, so it's kind of like a pedal note, or in orchestras they have like the violins doing that one arpeggio and it keeps going, and then you put so it's like a theme, but then the actual main idea is on top of it.
Yeah.
So
totally.
like when we were doing that the Spangalang or Rat-a-tat challenge, that right hand pattern is your ostinato, and then everything around that is changing.
Yeah, like I never say his last name correctly. I can't remember, Greg Erico or Gregorico, however you pronounce it, from Sly and the Family Stone. Like, he does a lot of great ostinato patterns, and I love trying to keep up with him. So it's like I know what it is, but like if somebody asked me to explain it, I couldn't put it into words. So yeah, Corey,
it's not. That's a music. It's a music term. It's not a drum term. It's just something that we use a lot. We have a lot of repeating patterns. So yeah. But for this exercise, it's I call it an ostinato, so we know that our feet are repeating and they're constant, but our hands are constantly changing. So if it's called an ostinato, then we know something else is probably going to be changing around it while this is staying the same. All right, cool.
Glad you asked it, Jason, because I had that same question.
Oh yeah, man, that's good. These are things that I don't think about. I'm just like, I just spout off all this like stuff, and it's like it's not really like a thing. Like I have to keep telling myself that like not everybody knows how to play like a flam accent, like let's just, I don't know. So I'm glad. I'm like I always say, I'm happy when you guys bring stuff like this up. It's really cool. Let's go like substantially a little bit faster. That's not crazy. So, oh yeah. There we go, yeah. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2. Oh, let me get a timer. 1, 2, ready, hands. Hands. Last one. Okay. That one was tripping me out. We took quite a significant jump, and I was like, am I playing the notes right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah, I guess so.
I finally got that samba thing, and then you're like, okay, let's do it.
Sorry, man. Let's go back to like 125, and let's do that. Let's try that. Let's do it even slower. There we go. All right, in our hands. A 1, a 2, a ready, a go. Last one. Oh my goodness gracious. That's cool. I like that. That's a I've seen Thomas Pridgeon do that a lot. In his he'll say like, yeah, keep a samba and then do like a lot of different rudiments. So when you get into he goes through like almost like a bunch of different rudiments, and then when you're getting into like, you know, like some of the like the flam tap or something like that is pretty easy, but then when you get into like paradiddle diddle and you're playing them as triplets, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. And it's really that's talk about shutting your brain off. That's really cool. All right, so let me pull up something here. This is going to be easy for some of you guys. I wrote this a long time ago, but I'll explain how we can make this more difficult if this is too easy for you.
Thank you for just earwigging me with American Pie by Don McLean.
What's that? What do you mean?
You said a long time ago, and immediately in my head, the opening to that wretched song popped in. So I'm going to have to go listen to some thrash after we're done.
Nice. All right. So this isn't anything. This is just a kick drum, like kind of exercise that I needed to write for when I first started teaching. So some of this is just like, I know there's a lot more different permutations of this that we can actually do and all that stuff. Now, I'm just playing a basic rock beat, you know, like what measure number 1 is. I'm basically just doing that with my hands all the way down. And the kick drum is what's permutating or moving or playing different rhythms. So our hand pattern is kind of like the ostinato, or I guess it is the ostinato now that we know what an ostinato is. And then our kick drum is playing 16th notes or like different 16th note patterns. So like obviously the first measure is just our basic rock beat, but then this one is like do-doons, guts, do-doons, guts. Then we play 3, do-do-doon, guts, do-do-doon, guts, do-do-doon, gut. Then 4, guts, guts. That's more of like a double bass thing, but if you can do it with 1 foot, yeah, that's really great. Then we're playing like, so now we're playing like a 4 on the floor kind of themed for the next 4 measures. So then it's like 4 on the floor, boom, boom, then then we got 3. I always skip this measure if you don't have a double bass, but it's just all 16 notes on your kick. That's hard. Then it's on the offbeats. And then doubles. This one should have been written on a different measure. Anyways, boom, gots, boom, gots, boom, got. Then 3, gots, gots, and then 4. Okay, so we can go through them one at a time, and then we'll just continuously repeat. The thing that I always try to bring up with this is to try to make each one feel like you're in the pocket, you know? Make it feel good. So don't just read it and robotically play it down because of what's written. Make it feel like, I would say picture somebody dancing in front of you, like really feeling the vibes of your music. Now, if you guys want to step this up again, then you can play a different hand ostinato. So like you can do like that, the rat-a-tat or the cheesy bread, as I call it, 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN on your right hand or left hand if you're left-handed, on your hi-hat pattern. I'm going to stick to just the basic so everyone can follow along. And what did we say? We do this at like 80? All right. Easy enough, right? Everybody still with me? Everybody good on this? If you can't read it, you'll be able to feel what I'm playing and follow along in that way. And like I said, if you guys want to change up the hand pattern and play something a little bit opposing, go for it. All right, here we go. Measure 1. Wow. And let's go to measure 2. I'm going to change my camera angle real quick. That's not working. There we go. All right. Number 3, 2, ready, go. Going. Four. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can't get this with a single pedal, it's all good. Sorry. Let's go to 5, 4 on the floor, 2, ready, go. Just kidding with the hi-hats. All right, here we go. Number 6 on, 2, ready, go. More. Let it sink in. All right, 7, 2, ready, go. Is kind of unrealistic with a single pedal, but let's try it too. Ready, go. getting shuffled. Sorry. All right, number 9. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's go to 10. Hold on. Keep it going. One, two, ready, go. Keep it going. What is that? 11, 2, ready, go. I can't see if that's 12. I said a 1, a 2, a ready, a go. Ah. Keep it going. Last one. Whew, my leg is burning. That's a pretty fun one. And I should add some more, like add some really off kick drum patterns. Or just do some different variations where you're playing like only the off beats on your hand, on your like this kind of beat. That kind of thing.
One that I like a lot is the just playing the bass drum on and.
Oh yeah, I didn't put that in there. So that's what I mean. I wrote this a long time ago. And that's one that needs to be added to this, of course. Yeah. So I should rewrite this in a better way, but
no, I thought it was great.
Oh, is it on there? I don't know if it's on there.
No. I'm saying I think it's great the way you have it. There's like endless. I forget whose double bass drumming book it is. Like, I don't know if it's Virgil Donati or something. It's got like every possible. Actually, it's not every possible because there's like probably endless possibilities. But I think this is a great exercise.
I think this is a really cool, like it's a simple one, where we're just focusing on, I guess it doesn't make sense that I don't have any of the and us on there or anything like that. Or like putting one in between here, like, or something like that. There's all kinds of different possibilities. Cause I have like, that would be in this section, like just, kick on one, maybe, oh no, that is what I did. So this grouping right here, or this group right here, should have one where you're only playing the E, and I didn't put that, where you're leaving out one, but you're playing E. I should add that. One E in it, 2 E in it, 3 E in it. So like And it should have, I should have had one where basically I had a student that was trying to speed up his foot and I couldn't think of ways to do it. But it should have single notes where like it should have a whole 4-bar section of where your kick drum it's one single kick drum and it moves over every time. Yeah. So like on the beat, then off, and then on the end, and then on the one and two. Yeah. So I'll have to write those measures in as well. But you go down the rabbit hole when you start doing permutations where you're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh man, and then they're like, well, what if we change this? This is what I've been doing with so okay, in my lessons this week, I've been using Justin's warm up. I love it. It's so great. And it's the same thing. There's stuff that can be added here. I'm going to share with you.
A cool thing is say that you have yours is incomplete like you think it is, but just have your students, if they know how to write or something like that, be like, hey, what am I missing?
Yeah.
Try to write one of these permutations on your own and see.
Like, oh, that's a good idea.
That's always a really fun thing to do.
So this I need to rewrite this like not properly, but just on sheet music, and like I messed it up you could see this. I don't know how to work preview on my computer, as you can tell, but I've been liking this one right here. What is that, number 9? That's a really cool, it can become a very cool chop, like you can use any of these as chops, but. I know it's pretty basic, but. Okay, well then like in our lessons this week, we've been like taking that and then kind of doing what Nat always does, where it's like, or you can also take this and do like diddles as the first note. So. Or like you can diddle the kick. It's really cool. Exercises like this I really like because, you can work through this whole thing and play all of them fine, but then you can go back and start going, how can I use these in like as drum fills? And then you can go back and be like, how can I use this as a beat? And then you can go back and start adding stuff. What if I flam like these 2 notes, or what if I diddle these 2 notes, and like, what if I diddle some of the kick drums and all kinds of stuff. It starts opening up possibilities where something as simple as a 16-note exercise like this can open up your vocabulary so much when you start just thinking about different possibilities. And there is a lot of possibilities, but in drumming, there's, it's like, what do we do? Okay, well, we can play this same pattern. If we're playing right, left, kick, right, left, you can play that as triplets, or you can play that as 30-second notes, or you can play that as whatever. Or like you can start adding diddles, or you can add flams, or you can add drags, or you can, it's like there's only so many different things. But that's what I love about drumming is like, man, you can take this concept and then the way your brain processes it, it's like, then you can start building on, a platform. It's really cool.
This is how you begin to develop your own vocabulary, like we were talking about earlier. This is not you see this, you're not copying it, but then you said like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and
right.
It's really cool.
What I've been doing too is taking this, like I like some of my, like most of my students are not advanced, but like even the beginners can play a lot of this stuff, and so I'm like, okay, so let's take the first one. That one's really easy, but then I won't give them like, here's what I want you to do with it. I'm like, well, let's learn the pattern. Now you got to show me what you want to do with it. Like, show me some drum fills. And it's been cool to see some of their, like, the way their brains are thinking, where I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's cool, and these different combos that they're putting together with just a simple concept of like, okay, we're just going to play kick, kick, right, left, right, left, right, left. Now, what are you going to do with it? And I've seen some kids like, you know, like playing some really cool, like, whoa, that's a cool drum fill, man. You should use that. Put it in context. Let's hear a beat, you know, and then they're playing a beat and then they do that drum fill. It's like, man, that makes me like have to think like, dude, how am I going to use this? You know? And so this one's been my favorite one, this one so far. Seems like you're playing in an odd time. Love it. Very cool.
Yeah, that's how you get into like you said, vocabulary. And for your advanced players, if you want, I don't do this myself, but you can actually like say you move this to like the and of 4. So you start this pattern on the and of 4.
Oh yeah. Good
right?
idea.
And you're crossing over the bar line. So even the advanced drummers, they're not really doing anything crazy to the point where they're just taking the stuff that's already out there. Yes. Simple stuff, and then just building on top of it. Like, what if we shifted one quarter note this way, or that way? And it sounds weird and trippy, but it's pretty much this stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, if like maybe you put a rest on like beat 1, and then you have to shift it over like, you know, a 16th note, and then it goes over the bar line. Or that's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't that see. That's what I'm saying.
That's not for me. It's from like Mark Juliana and you know, like Ari Honig, these people, because that's what they're thinking of now, because they've exhausted, you know, these advanced players, they've exhausted everything that's in like stick control and all this stuff. So they're like, what can I do to come up with some weird, like, cool stuff? Yeah. And it's not just to sound cool. They want to keep advancing, because they love advancing their own knowledge.
I think that's the beauty of drums, man. Like you know, it is a simple thing. We're hitting something with sticks. It's primitive. It's very, you know, it's like the oldest form of music making. But then, you know, you take these simple concepts, and then it's like you start uncovering so many possibilities and variations, and like there's no way that it's like, and then you get into styles of like, even if me and any one of you guys did the same thing, it's still going to sound and feel different. And then you get in the sound of the drums. Like if I did that pattern and then Daryl did that pattern, it's like we're going to sound different because our drums are tuned different, and you know, it's like this, the layers of all of this is just like a beautiful thing, man. I think that's why we're all attracted to it.
Yeah, drumming, I always say, it's the hardest thing, because drumming is so easy to start and get into. You can produce a sound just like hitting it by mistake, and that's a sound.
Right.
Playing a reed instrument, they really have to like know your embouchure. You teach these kids how to do something, and they're very mindful of that when they're smaller. So they start making these really ugly sounds, but they know it's not that good, so they practice on that. Drummers is like, oh, I made a sound. Little kids are like, yeah, I'm playing. It's a drum. It sounds good. So like, why not? So it's hard to. Yeah. It's easy to start, really hard to master.
Right. It's so true.
That's
you guys
the hard part about teaching kids.
I've been getting big on like random stuff. Like I love, like, you know, when we were talking about mistakes and stuff, and I was saying that, like, you know, a lot of when a student makes a mistake, I always say, that's cool, do it again, do it louder, and like more like you mean it. And like something beautiful most of the time can come out of that when there's, you know, confidence put in it. But then I've been getting into some stuff where people are doing random things, like there's like the JD Beck thing, putting like random stuff on the snare and then playing all super fast on it, and like it sounds amazing. Like, yeah, that kind of stuff. That's become a whole thing. Well, there's this, I forget what her name is, this girl in Germany. She's an amazing drummer, killer. I'll have to find it and share it in the chat. But she had a pizza next to her drum set, and she had a mic next to the box, and then the vibrations of her playing, she had the mic like pumped like into whatever her system was. So you hear the pizza box like vibrating on the mic, and it made the coolest sound. She's like, this is what pizza sounds like. And then she just started playing to it, and it was like, like, it was so cool, man. It was like, I'm like watching this, like, what? Like, this is like, what? Like, this is so cool, you know? So yeah, stuff like that. I'm like, it's just all, man, it's just art, you know? It's just music. It's just, I don't know. Everything around us is kind of like making music. I was on this tour one time where this dude Brian that is one of my like closest friends, and he has this thing called Dub Robot. It's an LA thing. He has like a car that it's an old Volvo that he puts like all this stuff, mounts all this stuff. You just have to look it up. His name is Dub Robot, and it's like he has this whole plot thing, like this whole storyline of like that he's from a different time dimension, from space, and like there's time burglars that are like stealing time, and then he has to come and like save the world, and then he like opens up his car and it's like reggae dub on the street that he's like playing for everybody, and live echoes and all. It's crazy. Anyways, he's amazing sax player that we've toured together and stuff, and we would go all over the place, and he had like a Zoom recorder, and he would just be in random places like in Germany, like collecting sounds, like, or like Spain, like we'd be in a tunnel or something, and he'd be like knocking on the wall, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's just like holding his recorder up. I'm like, what is that? And then he'd like get back to the room and put headphones on, and you'd be all these like cool space echoey stuff. And like, I'm like, dude, you're out of this. You are literally out of this world, man. He's like, yeah, man, you just, it's cool. You got to check him out. He's funny. And he's like, it's a little bit like, yeah, he has like a really odd podcast that's just like kind of like a vintage space movie where they're just like, you know, like, the time burglars are coming and blah, 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 blah. And then he's just like, okay, I'm reading you, you know, or whatever. It's just like, it's random, but he's super cool, man. He's like the Dub Robot.
That site's insane. I just checked it out on my phone real quick.
Yeah.
I've got later I'll ask you about it, because I got this car culture website that I'm on that I guarantee you they would love to talk to that guy. He is right up their alley.
I did a show with him one time, me and my wife. And it was like, I was stressing out, overthinking it. Like, what is it that you need us to do? And he's like, oh, just bring like a kick and a snare, and a hi-hat. And then we'll just do Dub Robot. And I'm like, yeah, but what are the songs we're playing? And he's just like, I don't know. You know, like, it's just Dub Robot, you know? And everybody's like in costumes. I'm in like a lab coat. I have a briefcase. I'm like, what are we doing? My wife is wearing like some big like horse head or something. And he just puts on this show, like, it's just like he just comes out and he's just like, he has like self-made instruments that like he made like a bungee cord and a shovel that like kind of is like a bass, and he calls it Boom Shovel. And like he's like a genius. This dude's a genius. It's just crazy.
I love the whole, you know, P-Funk vibe of that. And if you think of their live shows back in the 70s and just how outrageous they were, and
it wasn't like there was a band or anything. It was like he played like reggae dub music that he either like made himself, and then he just put space noises and stuff, and then I would just like jump on the drums and play a little bit and then walk off and like pretend like I'm a robot, and like it was the funnest, dude. It was one of the funnest shows I've ever played. Like, there's just random people. He's like, you just come out and like pretend you're reading, like getting a reading on something, and then you walk away, and then you jump on the drums, and then whatever you want to do, just, it's all free. Just go for it. And like, dude, it was so fun, and people were like seriously vibing out. Like, what in the world even is happening right now?
Was that recorded?
I don't think so. There might be like, yeah, some of the stuff, like when you're there in person, it's really great. And then some of the stuff you're just like, okay, it's just like a guy with a weird car and he's just like kind of playing space noises. But then like, yeah, when you're in the moment, it's like, man, it's fire, dude. It's like, we were doing that live. We were on tour one time, and he had these things called sub packs. Oops, I'm frozen. You guys know what sub packs are? They're like, I'm frozen here. There we go. They're like this tactile backpack that you wear that you plug your headphones in. Now they're Bluetooth, and then you feel the bass like as if you were standing in front of a subwoofer. And he was working with that company developing that product. And so we start this tour. We start in Amsterdam. And he opens up his suitcase, and it's like a t-shirt, like 2 pairs of underwear, a couple pairs of socks, and then all this like gear, like wires, and like I'm like, how did, like a shovel, like I'm like, what is this, dude? I'm like, how did you get on a plane with all of this? And he's just like, yeah, man, like he's like, let's go. And we go out to the like street and like put these backpacks on people and headphones, and then the boom shovel, he has a like a drum mixer thing, and we're like making music. It's completely silent until you put the headphones on, and then you feel this like reggae like on your back in the headphones. People were tripping, dude. Like, and we were doing it all. We did like every other like couple days. We did it on. I have a vlog that I did for that tour. I'll show you, like, where it's like you can see me like going, dude, I don't know about this, you know. But he's just like, let's just go, you know. It's really funny, really cool stuff, man. The Dub Robot, and he's like, this dude's like really, he's like a college teacher, like professor guy, teaches music theory and teaches recording engineering, and like he's people think he's just like a crazy dude on drugs, and then he's like, or just like an old guy or something, but then he's like he's a pure genius, man. I don't know why I'm talking about Dub Robot so much, but like it's great stuff.
You're enlightening us to
Yeah.
the endless possibilities of music.
It's just like what I love about that dude is I did a session one time with him where we were it was a class that he had to teach, and this was like really before I was really teaching. It was like and so it was the same thing where he's like, yeah, we got to teach this class on recording, and I'm like, I don't, and he's like, I go, so what do you want me to do? And he's like, yeah, just teach everybody how to like mic up drums or something for reggae. And I'm like, I don't know how to mic up drums. He's like, dude, you'll be fine. And I'm like, dude, what are we like? This is a recorded live stream, like college course. What do you want me to do? He's like, we're fine. There was not one like script. There was not one curriculum, nothing. It was just like, yeah, these people want to know about like how to record and dub stuff. And I'm just like, he's like, I just need you to play. If anything, just play drums and I'll you know, add effects and stuff to it. And I'm just like, dude, so I was like, literally they start rolling the cameras. They're kind of asking, so what are you guys going to do? And he's just like, yeah, you know, and then we roll up to the studio in his car. Like that already is like, what is happening? And who are these guys? And then we get out, we're all wearing lab coats and like these space glasses, and they're just like looking at each other like, what? And then we're like, hey, how you doing? Yeah. And we just like don't even really acknowledge the cameras or anything. We just walk in the studio. And then Brian's like, okay, the Dub Robot guy's like, okay, so today we're going to be learning about how to dub, how to, you know, do reggae stuff and how to mix this. And like, we were cracking jokes. They got to me, let's talk about the drums. And I'm like, yeah, so when you're playing like reggae, you know, you need to tune the drums like this. And I went through this whole thing on like how you tape up your snare and what you do the kick drum, and like putting cloths on the drums and like making all this stuff. And then he took it from there and like showed everybody how to like add a reverb and effects and stuff. Dude, they said that was like the best class they've ever had and the best reaction they've ever had online. People were chiming in like, this is awesome. You need to do more stuff like this. This is what we've been looking for. Like, besides like the standard dude that's just in there with like, okay, so you turn this knob here, and when you add this much, you know, dB, and like, you know, it's like, and it was like, it ended up being like a 3-hour class. My portion was like an hour, like, or the drums studio recording part. And then the other part was like, just like him getting really technical, you know, and people were like, that was the best thing. And he stayed in his character the whole time, lab coats, the car, the whole thing. I'm just like, this dude, man, like, it taught me that like a lot of times, man, like you may not know what you're doing, but it's fine, dude. You do know what you're doing. It's not like I don't know how to play drums. It's like, so just go in there and talk about it.
I would tie that into kind of what the conversation started this morning, you know, and that's like, in essence, kind of what you're doing here. You didn't know what this was going to be, and
right.
Evolving, and people are chiming in, and it's like, it's a free, you know, and that's how free flowing ideas, you didn't know what to expect. And you probably came out and just on the teaching thing with the dude. Like you didn't know what was going to come out, and you did it, and it was amazing. And you know, it's a way of pushing yourself without having these limitations.
You know, and like this dude is like a real like I said, like a real college, you know, level teacher, professor, or whatever. And he's like, there's a couple things that you need to know. Like, what is your thing? You know, like his thing is the dub robot. We'll just take it from there. Like that's as simple. Like, what are we talking about? Let's just go from there, you know? And he said he went in to a class and like everything was scripted and everything, you know, he worked really hard on preparing. And he said that was like one of his worst classes. And he's like, but the thing is that you got to realize is he's like, there aren't many people like me, you know, like he was talking about himself. Like I'm kind of an anomaly, and I've been recording in the recording business for 30 something years. So he's like, if I go in there and it's just boring and I'm just getting super technical, they're not really learning anything, rather than like if they're, you know, and so that's a lesson for me where it's like, man, I have been playing for a long time and touring and gigging and, you know, and essentially that's what we do. Right. And so, but if I'm going in like, I don't know, like overthinking stuff, that's when these kids' minds shut off, you know, and they're not really listening. They're just, their eyes are getting glazed over, you know?
It's interesting because just what you were just talking about, it seems like it's more about your approach to whatever music or whatever art you're trying to make. And it weirdly just connected back to what Hutch was saying, you know, how he was all mad that everybody was just copying, and he seemed like he just wanted people to be more original and like, don't just do whatever, you know, and that was like, he was like mad about it because everybody was just copying somebody else.
Well, that's the thing that that's what I'm always getting on is it's not like that thing was just like a cool lick. I mean, it wasn't a cool lick. It was a cool lick. It just was like, I think he was offended at that guy making himself the authority on like telling people what's hot in jazz when he doesn't. Hutch is like, who are you? And then two, it's like the originality thing. Like I always use Chris Dave as an example. That's my favorite drummer. And I think he's incredible. I think he's great. I think he's an innovator. I think he's the most original drummer I've ever seen. And everything that he does, everybody copies. And he, like, when he was like in the 90s, he was doing all the choppy drum fills and all of that stuff before anybody else was doing it. Well, there's a couple guys out there doing it, but him and I forget the other guy, but anyways, there's a couple guys out there, but he was the one that was like, everybody took that style and ran with it. And then he, you know, later he started doing the snare drum thing. And I mean, like I literally have my snare, and then I literally have my floor tom as a snare because Chris Dave. So I'm like guilty of it too, you know? Well,
see, I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, I think you can have a starting point. Like for me as a singer, I didn't know what my voice sounded like, and I listened to people, and then I evolved, you know, but I don't think there's, you know what I mean? Like then I made my own voice, you know, but.
So there's something to be said about like borrowing or stealing, like from, like the other thing is, so yeah, like Prince and James Brown, or Michael Jackson and James Brown, or like Little Richard and everyone, you know what I mean? Like everybody stole from James Brown, everybody. And like, but then like every 90s, 90s hip hop album has the funky drummer break, you know, in it. And it's like, but then now that's its own thing. That's its own style. So yes, you did get that from James Brown. I remember the first time I was like watching Prince in front of my dad or something. So I was watching some band, and my dad's like, yeah, that's James Brown. And I'm like, no, it's this band. And he's like, no, but they got that from James Brown. I'm like, really? And so you make it your own thing by like borrowing from your favorite people. That is something I firmly agree with. I definitely agree with that. And so I don't feel like I feel like a lot of drummers blatantly have copied Chris Dave with the that drunk beat feel and all that stuff. That kind of like Dilla, but Chris Davis just copying Dilla, you know, like.
Yeah. But I was thinking of that. That's if you think about the internet is such a weird thing because it's very impersonal. Mm-hmm. So I can see Chris Davis something. I'm like, oh, I love what he's doing. So let me try that out. But here and then that feels like you're like stealing from him.
Right.
But here in New York before COVID time and stuff like that, I used to go to all these jams, and they do stuff like that. I would see Chris Dave every once in a while. See all the like the baddest cats out there, and me there, whatever. But like you talk to them, they be like, hey, yeah, you know, it's cool stuff like this. But then you start making your own community with these people, and you start talking, and it's like you go to church gospel, or back in the days when like Elvin Jones and all these bebop guys used to go and hang out and play. They weren't really stealing licks from each other, but they were sharing the knowledge.
Right.
But it was more personable because they were literally right in person. Like, yo, how did you do that? How do you do that? Oh man, I love when you did that. Let's try it out. Oh, I got this. But that was, you did it in person. Now we're doing it online, so it feels like stealing. Right. But I feel like it's almost the same thing as it was before. Because I used to do that in New York. We did that all the time. We go to a couple cats, be like, yo man, this is how you do this. At a jam session, you'll play. Somebody will play something, a cool lick, and be like, dude, I love your lick. And then you'll play right after them when you're sitting down. But you'll like give them a head nod, like, this is. I love your stuff, and they'll love that stuff, and they don't think you're stealing from them.
That's like that quote: "Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery." You know, if you're copying what somebody else is doing, it means you like it enough to try it.
And that's the thing, man. In jazz, in particular, man, there's like it's a free music. It's a creative music. It's it's expressive music, but. It's the same as everything else. There's only so many possibilities, you know, or I guess. And like after a while, it still is just, you know, like, so if I do this beat too, am I copying you? Like that's jazz, you know? And so like, that's where I was like, come on, Hutch, like you like, just let the guy do his thing. Like just, you know, if, I get both sides. It's a really interesting subject. Man.
You know who I think has a real cool point of view of this is Stanton Moore.
Yeah.
And he's just my head's been down because I was trying to find a quote I ran across in his book I got here the other day. I couldn't find it, but he's it's like respect what came before, but then build on it with your own creativity. Right. Like we're all saying, it's not either or, it's yes and.
So that's why I can't understand why that, like, he was so mad at that, because it was like, I get that he was mad because he was like, this is the new thing in jazz. This is like, I'm telling you what's hot in jazz right now. And he was like, who are you to even say that? You know, it was like that attitude. But it's also like, so what, man? Let it evolve. Like if like Miles Davis never came out with Bitches Brew, like, right. We wouldn't have had like a lot of different things, you know, or like a lot of fusion and like a lot of So well, like
maybe his vibe is from. I didn't see I saw a snippet of it, but the video you're talking about. But like maybe it's just that it's like giving homage to where it came from, not being like, you know what I mean, like having that kind of.
Maybe that's what it is.
Is what kind of pisses people off. Like have humility, maybe, you know, maybe that's where it's like giving credit to where credit is due, that type of thing. Maybe that's what triggered him.
Yeah, like the filmmaker equivalent is Quentin Tarantino, right? Like everybody gets in these huge arguments about Tarantino. Is he inspired by or is he derivative? You know what I mean? And I'm more in the derivative camp. I'm like, he's a pop culture filmmaker. And so he's, you know, very good at presenting this kind of glossy upfront image, but like all pop culture, he just appropriates from everywhere. And, you know, some people do a really good job of turning that into something new. And personally, you know, everybody's got a right to their own opinion. In my opinion, he does it in some of his films, but not others. But you know what I mean? It's like, there's a difference between like taking the pieces and it's a difference between a cook and a chef, right? A cook takes ingredients and puts them on a plate. A chef takes what they're given and they transform it into something new that's delicious. So
I don't know, man. I think it's just like, I had a lot of mixed opinions where like Hutch was saying stuff that was really, really like a lot of stuff that I've been yelling into a mic on a podcast for a long time, especially about the industry. Like when he was talking about like, how the industry is creating this because this is what they're after. They're after a bunch of guys that are copying each other and not sticking close to the roots. And I've had those same complaints about ska and reggae music where, guys they didn't do their homework. They didn't really like they don't listen to this music. They're listening to me make this music and then they're copying me. And I'm like, dude, that's not how I learned how to play this music, So stop listening to me, listen to the stuff I listen to. Anyways,
I think it'll come full circle, like if you look at music over the next 50 or 100 years, like there'll probably be let's go back to the roots type of thing. You get away from it and then you return to it. Yeah. But he didn't seem mad at the dude that made the video. At first I thought he was, and then he was like, no offense to the guy that made this. He's just putting
the biggest problem I have is like his approach. Like he's just like, it's really negative and it's really like aggressive and it's really like, it's just old school, man. And it's like a lot of the stuff that just is lame about the drum industry, music industry. I've had so many people, like some of my dad's musicians, that have treated me like that. Like I'm a young kid that doesn't deserve to have a voice.
Right.
And it's like, that's just old school mentality, man. Like, who are you to even be the one to say this? I know you've done some great things in jazz, but like, you don't have the right to tell me how to create and that I can't do this or I can't do that. Like and threaten me with like, not me personally, but threaten people like, don't make me come back and show you all how to play drums and like all that stuff. I'm like, dude, I know you're just making waves and creating content and getting people amped up and, but that just turns me off where I'm like, who are you to tell me that? Like, I don't,
I felt kind of bad for him. Like he wasn't getting enough attention, like Gary Vee's always like, put out more content. If other people are, if your competition is getting more attention than you need to step up your game. And it's not that he needs to get a better drummer, but he's like not putting out enough good content.
Yeah, dude, when you're yelling into your phone and you're eating chips at the same time and you're like, it's like, what, Nate's stuff, the 80/20 drummer isn't like super great, like the production value isn't great, but some of his content is really great, man. He's
like if Hutch had taken that time and put out like my response to Flurries, if he had put out a drum video of him like showing what he could do instead of just spitting chips into the camera,
exactly.
like I would have been way more.
But that's the first thing I thought. Like, what is this? Like, what is he doing? He's just like eating and like yelling, just like cussing at everybody. Like,
it was comedic.
It's very, man. It's funny, man. I
felt bad for his kids. He that was like the thing that hit me. I was like, oh man, he brought his kids into it.
At the very least, I did go back and watch the 80/20 drummers video, and then I went and watched some of Hutch's videos, and like it brought me to both of their platforms or both of their pages to check out what they're up to, and so it was effective, even if it wasn't like. Even if I didn't agree with it, and I was looking in the comments, and like a lot of the comments on the 80/20 drummer was like, who's here because they watched Hutch's video? I'm like, dude, that's me. I would have never watched this video. I wouldn't even have cared but so it brought content to both of theirs. Maybe I should have somebody that just gets super pissed off at Drum Brigade and is like, this sucks, whatever you're doing, and then like spitting chips into the video, into the camera.
Look, it's the Tupac and Biggie of like, that's like how things go on. It's always about like conflict,
I noticed too that like that is bound to happen no matter what you do. It can be as positive can be. You're always going to have somebody that's going to be like, this sucks and I disagree. And so that is bound to happen with Drum Brigade and like all of that stuff. I don't agree with the way you teach. I don't agree with these pizza rhythm things that you're always saying. And Corey sucks as a drummer. And I just need to be like, yeah, whatever. Here's the next video, or here's the next thing. I'm laughing all the way to the bank,
Well, yeah, but you only get a say if you're in the Coliseum doing it.
Yeah.
So like, that Hutch, I'm ashamed to say I've never even heard of him until you brought him up. But that 80/20 guy, it's also, you have to kind of, I look at that whole thing like not even drums or anything, like just human wise. Like he wouldn't have got all bent out of shape if there's no such thing as social media and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like, I'm really aware of like how much I allow social media to affect my immediate energy, because it's sick. It is sickening. And
Yeah.
above all that, too, that 80-20 guy, they're two different drummers.
Right.
Like, Hutch doesn't have time to go give lessons online, right? He's a professional. He's doing gigs. 80-20's whole existence online is to teach people stuff. So, like, it's easy to sit back and say, like, analyze, like, what the lessons are of the day. You know
Right.
what I mean? But, like, yeah, kind of like what Brian was saying. I was waiting for Hutch to show me something then. Teach me the vocabulary of where
Right.
you come from.
Yeah.
But you didn't. All you did is swear. And
Yeah. Scold
once
us.
you start swearing and stuff, I got no use for you, man.
Right.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, 80-20 drummer probably, if you look at their skills, you'd be like, oh my God, that Hutch guy, like, they're not even the same drummers. But
Right.
that guy, 80-20, is much more valuable to me because he's actually taking the time to teach me something.
Right.
You know?
And it's not negative. It's not unprofessional. It's not like it's not threatening. I felt stressed out watching Hutch's video.
And like you, like I didn't even do music. Like, music was a hidden thing. I did my drums in my attic and stuff like that because of people like that telling me
Right.
I didn't want to get exposed. As,
Exactly.
like, I'm not good enough to play drums, and that would have tore me apart. So I just stayed in my basement, in my attic and stuff, instead of actually going seeking it out at 11 years old and getting properly trained and stuff, you know?
Right. Those kind of guys, man. I mean, a couple of those guys have come into Chops and Coffee, and I haven't had to like weed them out, but it's like that attitude is something that I just will not tolerate. That if Hutch came into Chops and Coffee, I have no problem being like, bro, this isn't a place for you, dude. Like, either you got to just like pipe down or like let us do our thing. You know, if you want to share something in a positive way, that's cool. But if you're going to come here and rip everybody apart or make us feel like break us, stretch us so far that, that you're proving that you're the best drummer in the room, then you need to bounce. This isn't.
Exactly. And that's the thing where, like, it's funny where you just said, like, I want somebody to bitch about the great. But the thing is, if you notice, like, I try to do a ton of positive stuff about recovery and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And, or like, oh, you guys might know, like, hey, my band's playing. Crickets. But as soon as I say, like, oh, man, I feel like shit and I really hate this, like, everybody jumps on that bandwagon, right? Like, let's all, like, the biggest addiction in the world today is, like, to suffer.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, no, you're too positive to have anybody. But that's not who you are anyways, and you wouldn't want to be that you'd be fake if you're trying to get controversial, right? Like,
right.
So it comes, it will come. Like,
definitely. Man, this is it's another successful Chops and Coffee. We were like way over time, but it's all good. Not that there's a time there. I don't like really set a time, but I normally do try to keep it to at least under an hour, but I love it. This is like really cool. So, everybody, thank you guys so much for a wonderful week. This has been a really great week of Chops and Coffee. I feel like we're back. Just like there hasn't been a lot of like self-deprecation and like it's been positive. It's been cool. We've uncovered some new like cool ideas for this thing. So really appreciate this week. Has been a really great week for Chops and Coffee and something that I was looking forward to every morning. So everyone's streaming with us live. Thank you guys for watching. And if you guys want to join Chops and Coffee, just use the page on drumbrigade.com, fill out the form, and I'll send you the link. You can jump in, chime in with us. Also comes with a discount on merch, all that stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great week, or weekend, I should say. And I hope you guys just play a million giant, huge gigs that are very, very, very safe. And you make a lot of money. Okay. Until we can do that, like, yeah, maybe we can do virtual gigs or something. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys are able to play at least a little bit this weekend and keep the dreams alive, if that makes sense. I'll see you guys on Monday, hopefully with some new some new Chops and Coffee designs and for the t-shirts. And then until then, I hope you guys have a great weekend. All right. Yay. Bye.